Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to be looking at the water cycle, also known as the hydrological cycle. Now, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be informed on my new videos. And if you find this video interesting, don't forget to give a thumb up or a like button, that is, you like the video. Okay, now diving straight into the video, we're going to be looking at definition of the hydrological cycle. We're going to be looking at the processes involved in the hydrological cycle. We're going to be looking at the diagram, and we're going to be looking at some possible questions. Okay, now on my channel, I focus basically on subjects like geography, economics, and history, where I treat possible questions and possible topics and also past questions for students. Okay, now let's rush in and dive straight into the video. Okay, now the hydrological cycle, also known as the water cycle, can be defined as the endless movement of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere as evaporation and transpiration, and from the atmosphere back to the earth's surface as precipitation. Now, water will leave the earth's surface as evaporation from water bodies and from the ground, and as transpiration from trees in a gaseous form. Now, the combined process of water leaving water bodies as evaporation and trees as transpiration is called evapotranspiration. Now, this process happens at the same time. Now, when this water reaches the earth or the atmosphere, it condenses, and the next process that occurs is precipitation, where the water is being brought back to the atmosphere. So the definition goes thus: the hydrological cycle can be defined as the endless movement of water from the earth's surface as evaporation, transpiration to the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere back to the earth's surface as precipitation, powered by the sun. Now, there are two key words here that are very, very important: endless and powered by the sun. Endless means it's a continuous process. That means the process does not stop. While powered by the sun, without the sun, there is no hydrological cycle. Now, to best understand this process, you can link it to a woman putting a pot on the fire containing water. Now, the fire represents the sunlight, the pot represents the earth's surface, and the lid of the pot represents the clouds. So when you put the pot on the fire and you put some water inside, that water boils. That is, the fire hits the pot, the water boils, and vapor leaves the pot to the lid. That is why when you open the lid of the pot, you find droplets of water on the lid. So what has actually occurred, for the fire to hit the pot, that is how sunlight hits the earth's surface, and the vapor leaves the pot to the lid in a gaseous form, which later changes to liquid form on the lid of the pot. Likewise, the water vapor in gaseous form leaves the earth's surface to the atmosphere, where condensation takes place. The gaseous state changes into liquid state, and you have precipitation. So that's that for the definition. So when defining, make sure that you put it is powered by the sun and it's a continuous process or an endless process. Okay, now coming to the second aspect of this topic, we're looking at processes involved in the hydrological cycle. Now, the key main processes that you should know within the hydrological cycle: you have evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation, infiltration, and runoff. These are the key processes that will constitute the hydrological cycle. To an extent, you also have adverbs. Now, in evaporation, gaseous or water leaves the earth's surface and water bodies in gaseous form and goes to the atmosphere. Transpiration, it leaves trees to the atmosphere in gaseous form. Condensation, when it reaches dew point, when this gaseous water leaves, or gaseous state leaves the earth's surface to the atmosphere, it reaches dew point at the level of the clouds, where the water, it condenses. Condensation, now we're looking at the next process where the gaseous is being transformed to liquid. As the gaseous is being transformed to liquid, the water are left in the cloud, and as the clouds are saturated, the clouds release the water in the form of rainfall. that is precipitation. There are two forms of precipitation: solid precipitation and liquid precipitation. Liquid precipitation, example, you have rainfall, you have dew, which is a smaller quantity of rain. And solid precipitation, you have hailstone, you have snowfall, you have ice block. So those are the processes. Coming on to the next process, infiltration, is that process whereby water reaching a permeable surface enters the ground. So when water enters into the ground after precipitation, that is infiltration. And when water reaches a surface that is impermeable or a slopy surface, the water happens to run down to smaller water bodies as runoff or overland flow. So those are the key processes that are involved in the hydrological cycle. Now, as you can see on the diagram, or as you can see on your screen, the diagram of the hydrological cycle. Now, on this diagram, you can see the earth surface, you can see plants, you can see water bodies, you can see clouds. So within the earth surface, you see the processes of evaporation from water bodies and the process of transpiration from plants, and you see the sunlight that has heated the ground, and you see vapor leaving the earth surface and plants as evapotranspiration to the atmosphere at the level of the clouds, where it condenses and falls back as rain. Okay, now the next, before going to possible questions, there are also some movement of water beneath the ground after infiltration. So some key movements of water beneath the ground: you have percolation, you have through flow, you have base flow, and you have the last storage of water, which is called underground flow. Okay, percolation is a further movement of water into the ground after infiltration. With through flow and base flow, these are other movements of water to other smaller or to other channels within or inside the earth surface. And now underground flow is the movement of water to the water table or to the underground table, where you have the final water storage. And for the water to leave the soil moisture zone, which is the first layer, to the underground zone, it passes through the water table line, where it meets its final state, its storage. Okay, so that is an overview of the hydrological cycle, as easy as that. And when questions generate under, or when questions come under this topic, questions comes under the test, the knowledge of students on the definition, the diagram, the processes, explanation of the diagram, and some possible movement of water beneath the earth. Now, to explain an overview of the diagram, to explain that diagram, you say when the sunlight hits the earth's surface, water is being evaporated, or water leaves the earth's surface as evaporation from water bodies and transpiration from trees to the atmosphere. As it reaches the atmosphere in due point, the water, the gaseous state, or the water in gaseous state condenses. As it condenses, the vapor changes to liquid, where the clouds become saturated and releases water back to the earth's surface in the form of precipitation. Part of this water enters into the ground as infiltration, and the rest of the water runs down the land surface as overland flow or runoff. So that is a simple explanation. So I'm going to leave, at the end of this video, I'll leave some possible questions, and I'll be waiting for the answers down the comment section. So please, if you find this video interesting, don't forget to like, and also comment if there's any worry. And I'm waiting for your replies or your answers at the comment section. Thanks, and see you later.